All right, good afternoon, traders. Today is August 26, 2026. My name, Coach Kerrigan, instructor here at BYOB Trading Room, little day trading division for the Hit Run Candlesticks family. Let's take a look at the markets today. K captured 23K, used 31%, actually used 31K of my 158K account. That's 20%. Now I do have some long positions in here, but those are swings, okay? So those aren't day trades. So if you see it and it's over here and you notice like, oh, John, that's way more than 10% or 20%. It's because those are swings. Notice the dates 23 and 2, okay? Those are swings right there. Okay, so I'm going to push this over. All the zeros, those would be day trades. Okay, so now I'm going to push this over. We got the sticks and the 3 riding up on top of the rising 8. Picture of money. Picture of money is when you got VWAP rising up. You got ADMA rising up. Okay, so we've got the distance between the the ADMA and the rising up VWAP gets wider and wider and wider. See the mouth of these two lines, the white line and the burnt orange line gets wider and wider. So that would be our picture of money. Whenever you see that commence, okay, that's where money's going to be made. Right there is in that picture of money. See, no money made through here because we're coming back. This is counter trend. We're still in a downtrend because we're not up over VWAP. And you can see the 3 just now crossing. There's your rubber band candle. Couldn't close over it. Couldn't close over it. Finally closed over it. That begins the beginning of your uptrend right there. As soon as you close over that rubber band candle right there. So 10 minute, all right? 10 minute uptrend getting pinched off by a big red candle here coming into the close. Again, the sticks and the 3 candlesticks and the 3 EMA plotting up over that rising 8. Now the 8's kind of flattening out. Looking like probably going to be a harsh pullback to VWAP right now. All right, SPY on the 10 minute uptrend coming into the close. What did we trade this morning? Well, it was nothing but chop, and it really freaked me out. Okay, I'm just going to tell you, we were up, and then we're down, and then we're up, and then we're down, and then we're up, and then we're down, and then back up again, and then we didn't go anywhere, and then we came down and put in the exhaustion candle. At that point, I knew time to get long. All right, as soon as I saw this, take out 51% of this move from the top of that wick down to the bottom of that tail. Top of that big candle wick down to the short candle tail. 51% gets taken out. They're holding it up there, either on the 2 or the 5 or the 3 minute chart. That signals me for get long. All right, so I'm looking for a long return back to VWAP right there. Igniting candle, exhaustion candle. All right, so that's 10 minute chart. All of this, I was getting long over this, and then they reversed it. Then I was getting short under here, and they went back up to long, and then they went down and went up. And let me just tell you, they flipped me all over the place. Finally caught the trend on the downtrend right here, and the uptrend back up there. Okay, so there's SPY on the 10 minute chart. As you can see in the room, I said I'm buying puts. Okay. Well, I said it in the room. I'm buying puts. Then my puts got stopped out. And then I reloaded puts. You can see right there at about 1 o'clock. Actually, that was that 1 o'clock? Oh, yeah, long-term puts. Yeah, long-term puts at the end. As price was coming back, pulling back from here, I was reloading long-term puts. Those are those 23 DTEs. So I had puts here. I had puts, but price went up against them. Then they came back down. And then they finally, after selling them off and closing them out and stopping out, I picked them up for this ride down right here. So this SPY on the 10 minute. 2 hour chart. Again, you can see price coming off the all-time highs. All right, coming down and over to the right. So it's down and over to the right. That makes this a bear flag. We're still in a bear flag right here. So 2 hour, we call it 2 hour consolidation. If you look at the 3 EMA, it is on top of the white 8 EMA. I'm not really going to call it an uptrend or a downtrend because it's more of just consolidation. We still haven't broken out over this, okay? We're still kind of trapped inside the consolidation zone right through here. Consolidation zone is right there and right here, okay? Still trapped in between those two. Okay, underneath this green line right here, 760.43, is the beginning of an open gap down below, okay? So eventually, I think we roll over and target this after we hit maybe 768. I think we got some NVIDIA earnings coming out. We had GDP, which wasn't that impressive. We had personal income and outlays. I got to tell you, I wasn't that impressed with that either. I refer back to the retail sales. Retail sales sucked last month, so I can't see things getting better. All right, even if the outlook is good, we'll see what happens. Okay, so there's buy on the 2 hour. I'm not going to call it an uptrend or a downtrend. I'm just going to call it bearish consolidation into the close. On the daily chart, we've got, we'll come down here. So on the daily chart, you can see we didn't move very far. We made a higher low and a higher high. We closed. We still closed inside a bearish trap, not a bullish trap. We still closed over the 17. We're still in the middle of quadrant 4, so that makes us bullish up there. We haven't made any lower lows, all right, but we are in one of those, I got to tell you, dysfunctional uptrends, because since making the new all-time high, we have done nothing but melt off or move over to the right. Okay, so bullish, dysfunctional uptrend on SPY. Weekly chart, still bullish and in an uptrend. Monthly chart, still bullish, still in an uptrend. Look at QQQ. Start on the 10. You can see they had a nice 10-minute uptrend coming into the close, and you can see it getting pinched off. So I'm not going to call it bullish consolidation. I'm not going to call it a bullish trend or a bearish trend or an uptrend or a downtrend. I'm just going to call it consolidation. Price moves up and over to the right. You can see VWAPs right here. So I'm going to call it just bullish consolidation on the QQQ. Same as the SPY. On the 2 hour chart, it's going to look very similar. All right, and you can see just barely, you got to squint your eye. You can barely see it. I have to turn VWAP off. Okay, so you can see now, you can see the 3 EMA is plotting up over the 8 EMA. So it's an uptrend, not a very convincing uptrend, okay? It's more of bearish consolidation, because as you can see, price comes down and then over to the right. So I'm going to call it bearish consolidation. I'm not going to call it an uptrend or a downtrend because they've been crisscrossing here for 3 or 4 days. So there's QQQ 2 hour bearish consolidation underneath that all-time high anchored VWAP. On the daily chart, all right, we've got a, I got to tell you, I think that looks like a lower high and a lower low, as opposed to SPY was a higher high and a higher low. So the high here yesterday, 714.04. High here today is 713.02. So it's a lower high. And the low here is 707.45. The low here is 707.41. Okay, so they got lower. So lower high, lower low. We're closing in a bearish trap. Nothing impressive there. Closing underneath the flat 17 EMA. That's the green dots that turn to red dots. We are in the bottom of quadrant 4, so we're still bullish. We're under the pink line. That's the all-time high anchored VWAP. We have not made any lower lows. All right, we're still in the pullback. Okay, we'd have to come all the way down here to make a lower low. All right, so in QQQ, daily chart, we're still bullish, so it's bullish. And like SPY, dysfunctional uptrend, okay? Because we've done nothing since making the rally high. But fade lower or over to the right. Okay, so dysfunctional uptrend. Actually, it's an uptrend with a pullback. That's all it is. QQQ, weekly chart. bullish and in an uptrend. Nothing broken on the 17 through here. Got this one candle, but it didn't break another candle. So it's a solo event right there. Monthly chart, bullish and in an uptrend. Again, nothing broken on the 17 except for this candle. Again, another solo event because it didn't break another candle low. So there's QQQ, weekly, monthly, bullish, bullish and in uptrends, okay? Let's take a look at IWM. And we'll start on the daily chart. And, well, I'm just going to have to measure it. So the high here is 299.78. High here is 299.95. So that's a higher high. The low here is 97.97. The low here is 98.13. Okay, so I got higher low, higher high. Closing inside a bearish trap under the 17 EMA in the top of quadrant 4 or middle of quadrant 4. That's still bullish. They have not made lower lows. They're in a dysfunctional uptrend or a uptrend with a pullback. Okay, so they're bullish, still in an uptrend for IWM. Let's take a look at Diamond Dow. And for Diamond Dow, we've got high there's 536.52, high there 536.63, so higher high. And the low there is 533.18. The low here is 533.31, so higher high, lower low. Outside day, closing over a bullish cross. You can see the 3 crossed up over the 8. Closing over the flat 17. Closing in the middle of quadrant 4. All right, so that makes us bullish. And did we make a lower low? And we didn't here, and we didn't there, so we're still in an uptrend. Another dysfunctional uptrend, or uptrend with a pullback. So Diamond Dow, bullish, because we're up here in quadrant 4, and in a dysfunctional uptrend, right? That's just melting off or over to the right. That's Diamond Dow. Let's take a look at FNGU. All right, FNGU, I'm just going to eyeball it and say it's an inside day. Okay, so it's a lower high, higher low. Closed over bearish trap, closed over the rising 17. Take this out of the way. All right, we're in the bottom of quadrant 4. All right, so we are bullish up there. I see a low, I see a high, and then a lower low. So we're in a downtrend. So FNGU did make the lower low. So they're in a daily downtrend because they made a lower low. Not a very convincing downtrend because you can see they've done nothing since making the downtrend but melt up. All right, so dysfunctional downtrend. Anyways, FNGU bullish because let me pan out. You can see we're all the way up here in quadrant 4. So above the crosshairs, okay, that would be the upper third of the quad lines. That's bullish for me. All right, so we're bullish, and we're in a downtrend currently on FNGU. FNGU not doing too bad. I got to say that I don't like the consolidation under prior consolidation. That's a bearish bias for me. So if that was 2 weeks up there, and this is 2 weeks under here, this is moving down as opposed to up. So consolidation under prior consolidation. If I put the quad lines on it, let's see what we come up with. So you can see they're holding, even though it is consolidation under prior consolidation, they're barely holding on to that upper third. You can see the candle bodies hold on to that upper third of, let me just dial this back and you can see it clearly. Okay, so now you can see it. So now this would be upper third right there. So you can see they're in the upper third. That would be bullish up there because I dialed the other one back. Now you can see it. So that would be bullish, but I do not like consolidation under prior consolidation. I like it best when they hold the high ground and they just don't stop. They're relentless, banging on the door of the resistance overhead. All right, I like to see them grind away, get up there and grind away at the highs, pulling back. Sometimes healthy, sometimes not so healthy. Lingering down here, for me, is not healthy. But we are up over the upper third, so that is still bullish. Just not my idea of bullish, anyways. All right, so that's FNGU still in a downtrend because made the lower low. So bullish and in a downtrend for FNGU. So let's still up over the all-time high anchored VWAP. That's I should give them some credit for that, and they get it. That's nice that they're able to hold up over that. Let's take a look at silver and gold. They might surprise me yet. We'll see. Okay, so silver, inside day, lower high, higher low, closed in a bullish trap over the rising 17. There's a high. They made higher highs. So neutral, okay, because they're not in the upper third, not in the lower third anymore. So they're neutral and in an uptrend, still underneath this all-time high anchored VWAP. I think we got a date with that thing. I don't know when, but eventually I think we get up there and make a date, all right, with the silver all-time high anchored VWAP. All right, let's take a look at GLD. GLD already had dinner, all right, and they were looking for a hotel room. All right, so there's the lower high, a higher low, lower high, lower low, closed inside a bullish trap over the rising 17. There's a high right here. There's a high right there. There's a high right there. They made a higher high. So they're bullish because they're in the upper third. All right, up there in the bottom of quadrant 4. All right, they're bullish and in an uptrend for GLD. All right, so let's take a look at USO. And USO I gotta look. That's a lower high. The high there is 129.71. The high there is 129.46. Lower high, lower low. Closing under a bearish cross and under the rising 17 in the upper third. So that's bullish. And did they make a lower low? No, they did not. So they're still bullish and in an uptrend. Okay, just not moving up. A little pullback here right now. So USO bullish and in an uptrend. UNG. UNG higher low, higher high. Closed over a bullish trap. Okay, closed over falling 17 or kind of flat 17 EMA. Bottom of quadrant 1. Let me pan out so you can see this. Okay, this is a 17-month high anchored VWAP right there. Okay, not the all-time high, just the 17-month high. And we're still down here in quadrant 1, so that's going to be bearish. Did we make a higher high? Well, we got an up-down situation right there, and we made a higher high. So we're in an uptrend, okay? So nothing really fancy right now. Showing an inverse head and shoulders and breaking out of the neckline right now, okay? So UNG daily chart is bearish but in an uptrend right there for UNG. Let's take a look at internals. And let's move over. Start with T2101. And the participation just keeps getting worse. Look at the lower low. Look at the lower high. The market breadth makes for whippy, choppy price action. Let me show you some whippy, choppy price action. Okay. And let's take a look at SPY. Okay, so whippy, choppy price action. There you go. Under VWAP. Wait, over VWAP. Under VWAP. Over VWAP. Under. Over. Under. Over. Under. Over. Back under. And now back over. Okay? That's what I'm talking about. So not a lot of participation when you only got couple of guys working the crew, and they're able to Well, they're just able to play keep away, all right, really well, all right. So you can see lower high, lower low. This one goes to the bears because this is not good when we got low participation. We need full participation. So market breadth decreasing yet again. Goes to the bears for that one, T2122. Look at the bulls rally the price back up into the buy zone. This one goes to the bulls today. Nice work for them. You can see most of the yellow line for the 26. Almost all of it is over the midpoint right here. All right, even a little trip up into the buy zone. Spent the whole day in the buyer's chop zone. We actually made a little higher high right here. And we actually made a little higher low. So we'll see what happens. T21. That goes to the bulls. T2101 went to the bears. T2122 definitely goes to the bulls. T2123 makes a new all-time high. That's definitely going to the bulls right there. So that's bullish and in an uptrend over that rising 200 SMA right there. So new all-time high for T2123. Of course, the 3-bar chart is going to be bullish and in an uptrend. If the 15-minute made new all-time highs, then the 3-bar chart did as well. Again, up over that 200 SMA. That's where you want to be if you're a bull, and they're getting it done right there with some new all-time highs. FNGU for today, just kind of flat. I like the melting up thing going on right here. All right, so what do we got for highs and lows? Well, we got a high, and we left off with a higher high because we got a low that cut below the 17. You can see the red dots. We got a higher high, so that is an uptrend. We were lingering underneath falling 200 SMA, and now we have made it to the backside of it. Let's see if we can hold that area and eventually start melting up some more. We'll see. FNGU on the 15-minute chart, that is going to be neutral. All right, because if I put the quad lines on there, well, actually it's bullish. So that's bullish and in an uptrend. All right, that's where you want to be on top of that 200 SMA, whether it's falling or rising or flat. You want to be on top of that 200. So 15-minute, bullish, and in an uptrend because they made higher highs right there. All right, any questions? There's no questions. I think I'll find you a song. Jerry says, when you get a chance, could you please share your Thinkorswim MES chart setup page? Yes, I will. I think I shared it yesterday. Let me go dig it up. I think I got it out there. Alerts, archives, chat log, 25. I'm looking.